Hello. So this is, I'm creating a little video clip to explain how to conduct an assessment, a diagnostic of water use within the household. So basically, I'm going to take you through what is the data that you need to collect at the household level in order that once you've collected the data, we are then able to analyze it to understand the breakdown of the water use that happens within the house. And we also are able to find out how much water is used within the house. So we're going to do this indoor water use data collection. And the reason for that data collection is, the purpose is two purposes. One is to understand how much water is being used in the household. The second purpose is, what is the breakdown? Exactly where percentage of water used in each end use, we call it. End uses are, the water used in the kitchen for cooking, for dishwashing, for, bathroom hand washing, bathing, showering. So we break it down into every single use that uses water, and we understand how is that total water broken down by each end use. So with that purpose, so let me first take you through a slide deck where I'm explaining what is it that we really need to understand and collect data for each end use. So once you understood that, then I will take you through the form that you will be given in order to use it to start collecting the data at home and submit it. So once you've submitted the data, then we will be able to analyze it and provide you the answer for your household. The total water use as well as the pie chart showing the breakdown of the water use. Okay, so let's get started. So let me share the screen first. So, okay. So this slide I have prepared for you to first understand what is it that we are collecting and why are we collecting. So let's say we want to understand the water used within kitchen for cooking and drinking and dishwashing. So in order to understand that, what you really need to know is, how does the household or the family store water that is used for cooking and drinking? Generally, there's a practice that people will either store water or will be using their water treatment unit as a water storage in order to use that water. So if that's the case, when you're actually assessing it at your household or anyone's household, you need to simply ask yourself, if it's your house, or ask the householder that, where do they store water that is used for cooking and drinking? And they will say that, we store it in these bottles, which are like, 1 liter bottles. There will be 10 bottles, or there'll be 2 liter bottles, 6 bottles. So you need to count those bottles, and they'll say we finish 6 bottles a day. So then you can look at, each bottle is say 2 liters, and 6 bottles they use. So you make a note that they are using 12 liters on a daily basis. So this data assessment, when we are doing the data collection, we are going to estimate the water for how much water is being used on a daily basis. So always keep that in mind. So, and they may say that the same water we use for cooking and drinking, and we tend to use 10 bottles or 8 bottles. So then it's your job to make note of that as a data collector, and write down that they are using 12 liters per day or 20 liters per day, whatever it is. So you note that down. Then dishwashing is another activity that happens in the kitchen. So what you do is, for dishwashing, now how does the dishwashing activity happen? There's a tap and it throws out water, and then you wash dishes in that. So what are the factors that will determine how much water is being used by dishwashing? There are 3 factors. One factor is how much water is being put out by the tap that is being used for washing the dishes. So that is called the flow rate. So I've put here flow rate of the basin tap. We are able to, and I'll come back to explaining how do we assess the flow rate of the tap when you are out on the field collecting your data, either at your own house or at someone's house. So we'll get to that later, but let's understand. So flow rate of the tap is important. And once you understand how much water is throwing out in liters per minute when you open the tap while washing the dishes, we also want to understand how much time is being spent washing dishes, because the duration for which the tap is kept open during the dishwashing session will determine how much water gets used. So we ask the question on the field that, how long is your dishwashing session generally? So they'll say it's around 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. So you note that 30 minutes, whatever they say. And then you ask how many sessions you have per day. So they say, well, we wash dishes twice a day. And they may say that, actually nighttime I only spend 10 minutes, but daytime we have like 30 minutes. So what you do is you calculate the average, so total time. So you say 40 minutes is your total time, and also because you added the total time, then you're writing in only one time a day. Only if it is equally distributed, then you say that's the duration and 2 times a day. So it's up to you how you want to express it while on the field. So this is about the kitchen water uses. And one more question we ask in the kitchen is whether or not they're using RO unit for producing the cooking and drinking water. The reason is because we make note of that in the form. You'll find a question that do you have RO unit that you make use of? And by answering that question, when we are analyzing the data, we account for the fact that say for example, they are using 10 liters of water a day. Then we need to know that because they're using an RO unit, only 75% of the water actually gets discharged, and 10 liters is actually 25% of the total water that actually gets used, because the remaining 75% actually gets discharged as a reject water. So that is why we need to ask them that question also when we are talking about the kitchen activity. Then let's talk about the other uses like hand washing. Now again, hand washing, what are the things you need to know? You need to know the flow rate of the tap that is being used for the hand wash, the basin tap. You need to know how long they spend on an average. And of course, you make note of how many people in the house in this case, because unlike dishwashing, which doesn't depend on number of people, but it depends more on how much time you're spending, in this case, you also will, apart from taking account of the time you spend and how many times you're washing the hand in a day, you also note how many people are there washing hands. So that's also part of the equation to understand the total water used by hand washing. So the same thing with the showering. You ask them how many people are taking use of shower heads, and then you measure the flow rate, and you look at the time spent for showering and the number of times. So, and like that, you do it for the health faucet in the toilet as well, because you measure the flow rate, you ask for the time and number of times. So, and then you are asking about bucket bath, because some people in the family could be using bucket for bathing, not shower. So you ask them how many people use bucket bath, you make note of that. Now in this case, instead of measuring a flow rate, all we are doing is we are looking at how big is the bucket. So you note down the volume of the bucket, and you note down how many buckets per bathing session they use. They may say we use 1.5 bucket, they may say we use 1 bucket. So we note that. And also how many people are taking such a bath and how many times a day. Same with the toilet flushing. Toilet flushing, number of people, it will matter how much water totally gets used in the house. Then we look at the volume of the flush tank. So in this case also, we are not really measuring the flow rate. We are just looking at the volume of the flush tank. And we are also asking or observing or making a note, is it a single flush or a dual flush? So if it's a single flush, you make note of that and ask them how many flushes in a day per person they must be using. So they may say, if it's a dual flush, they'll say we do 2.5. So you write down 2.5, which means like 1 half flush and 2 full flush. And so you note that, because that's what determines the amount of water used by toilet flushing by the household. And what are the other activities that remaining? Floor mopping. Again, you look at the bucket they use for floor mopping and note down that, and you ask how many times in a day or how many times in a week, days in a week they're doing floor mopping, because some people may not do mopping every day, but therefore you just need to ask them how many days a week. So you note that. Then some people may have indoor plants which they may water. So you ask how many liters you water in each watering session. How many watering sessions in a week? They'll say, well, we water 4 times a day or 4 times a week. So you can note that. And then you've noted every watering session, they may use, say we use 2 liters, 5 liters or whatever. So you note that. So then when it comes to washing machines, here what we're doing is, that also uses water. So what we do is we look at is it a top loader or is it a front loader? And we also ask them what program they typically use. Do they use quick wash? Do they use normal wash? Or they use some other wash? So you note that. And because with the help of the knowing that is it a top loader or front loader and what program it is, we are able to estimate a volume of water that gets used for each wash. And the other question we ask is how many times they load the machine in a week. Some people may load it every day. So in that case, they'll say 7 days a week. Some may say we only do it twice a week. So you note that. And then what we'll be doing is later on converting it divided by 7 because we are interested in looking at how much average water gets used per day. So that we will take account of in the time of analysis. Then some hot places, if your city is located in hot places and the use of evaporative cooler is very common, evaporative cooler uses water as a coolant. So in that case, what happens is you have to refill that evaporative cooler with water. So all you need to understand is how much volume of water is refilled in the cooler on a daily basis, or it could be one alternate days, whatever it is, you ask them how much volume are they refilling and how many times per week they do it. And you note that. And we'll convert that into times per day. So basically, this is all about indoor water use. So I think for a household water consumption estimation, this is all you need to, the data you need to collect. Now, but then it's in the table form, but what we have done is we've created a form. So this form, Google form, will allow you to take it on your smartphone or a little tab, and you can even print out a PDF if you're not comfortable entering numbers in a tab or a smartphone. I think it's advisable to take a printout, and then what you do is you write down, what each of the question answered. Now let me talk about how to measure the flow rate. So the way to measure the flow rate is very simple. What we are asking you to do is, say you want to measure the flow rate of the tap of the kitchen used for dishwashing. So you open the tap to the full. You open the tap to the full, even though you may or may not be using it at full capacity, but that's the way, a standard procedure to measure the flow rate. So you open the tap to full, and then you stick in a 1 liter container with a wide mouth or a big enough mouth that the flow of the tap can get into it. So you open the tap, step number 1, open it fully, then stick your 1 liter container in it, and as soon as you stick that container, you start your stopwatch. And once that container gets full, you remove and you stop the stopwatch to know how many seconds or how many seconds it took for that tap to fill a 1 liter container. And you just note down in the form, all you're being asked is how much time in seconds did it take for the 1 liter container to fill up when the tap was kept full. And you note down the number of seconds. That's all you need to do. Because we will then later on in the analysis part, we'll convert it into liters per minute. Then when it comes to the shower head will have, because you can't contain in a bottle. So what you do is you what you do is you take a big bucket and you hold it near the shower, and first shower, or you can start the shower after you're ready with the bucket. Start the shower for full, and then as soon as the shower starts, you start the stopwatch. And what you do in this case, instead of measuring how many liters, 1 liter, how many seconds, you decide that you will stop the shower head after, say, 20 seconds. Or you decide the time, 30 seconds, 1 minute. So you can decide, I'm going to stop it at 1 minute or 10 seconds, 20 seconds. If it is very high flow rate, then you can say, okay, I'll stop it at 10 seconds. But wherever you stop it, if it's getting very full, you stop it and you note the time. And generally you fix the time beforehand, that it could be 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. You choose the time. So once you've chosen the time, you immediately stop it, and whatever water gets collected, you measure that using your 1 liter containers and see how much and if it is like 2 bottles with next remaining is only half the next bottle, so you say it's 2.5 liters. Okay, so it's an approximate measurement we're getting if it fills in quarter, so it is 2.25 liters. So all you need to do is to say I filled for 10 seconds, I used 10 seconds, and in 10 seconds it filled 2.25 liters or 3 liters or whatever it is. And you note that in the form, because the form will ask you how many seconds it took to fill up how many liters. And that's all you need to note. And you can decide the number of seconds and where you want to stop. And then you measure the volume, that how much volume collected in the bucket. Okay, because it's simply because you can't put a bottle under the shower. We're taking a different approach to measuring the flow rate of the shower head. So this is basically the procedure. So I think I want to now take you through the form so that you know how it looks like. So let me show you the form. Let me stop the share here, and then I'll share the new. Sorry. So this is how the form looks like. Okay. So first question will be asked, we want to, because we want to note down who's filling in the data, what reference. So you may write water accountability training if you're doing it as part of the training, waterpreneur training, or if it's a self-assessment, or you're just testing the form, or you may write, actually if it's a client's job, then you enter the name of the property and name of the city in the other. So that will allow us to know that whose data, which project's data you're collecting. And you enter your name if you're whoever is filling the form. If you're filling the form, you're the person filling the form. Write down your name, write down the number of people in that household, whichever you're measuring. If it's your household, write down the number of residents, including kids. And then the next question asked is for the cooking and drinking purpose, total daily volume used for cooking and drinking in liters. So as I said, you have to ask that question, or you have to observe where you're storing the water, and that water storage will tell you how many liters in a day. Sometimes they'll say, no, I use this storage and 2 fillings I use. So then you measure it 2 times that whatever is the storage. So, and then we ask, do you use RO unit for water treatment for cooking and drinking purpose? And what we're asking you to do is select 1 if the answer is yes, and select 0 if the answer is no. Okay, and then it comes to the dishwashing basin tab. So here you are asked to write down the flow rate measurement. Time taken to fill 1 liter in seconds. So as I said, you have to use a 1 liter bottle, and after you open the tap, stick the bottle in, measure the time it takes to fill in, and you write down the number of seconds. That's all you need to do. And then you ask the householder about the time duration they use for each dishwashing session, and then the frequency of washing per day. And also, so then that finishes the kitchen area. Now you're going to the bathroom area, and you're asking about the hand washing. So you look at the hand washing basin tap, and again measure the flow rate by filling up 1 liter of bottle, or even sometimes you may use a mug, 1 liter mug, especially if it's a basin, hand wash basin. You may not be able to stick a bottle, so use a mug with a wide mouth and you can stick it in. And so you fill that and note down the seconds. Ask them about how much time they take to average duration, how many times they wash their hands, and so that takes care of the hand washing. Then the shower head, again, you look at the flow rate measurement. As I said, you note down, how many liters got filled in a certain seconds, and you write that down. And you ask them about, duration of each showering session, and how many times they take shower in a day, and how many people in the house take shower. Because we don't assume that everyone takes shower, because sometimes people have preference. Some people don't like to take shower, some people like to take shower, or they don't like bucket bath. So it depends. We have allowed for both types of bath methods. Then the next is about bucket bath. So you ask them how many people are taking bucket bath. And if nobody is taking, then you can just write 00 for all the other questions related to bucket bath. But otherwise, you write down whatever number of people are using, then ask them which bucket do they use. You look at that bucket, write down the volume of that bucket, number of buckets they use for each session, you note that down, and how many times they take bath in a day. So that takes care of the bathroom area. Now you come to the toilet area, you start with the hand jet. So in the hand jet, again, you measure the flow rate by filling a 1 liter bottle, write down the number of seconds, ask them the duration and frequency, and then we come to the toilet flushing. For toilet flushing, as I said, we observe the volume of the flush tank. Is it 6 liter tank? Is it 8 liter? Is it 12 liter? So they look different. So we are able to show you the pictures later on to show how to, by looking at the model, what can you tell? You can even take a picture and post it so that, if you don't know how many liters, you just note down the picture, and that picture will allow us to know how much volume it is. And then you note down, is it a single flush? Is it a dual flush? And then average number of flushes per person per day, including the half flush. If it is a dual flush, you may ask them to count the half flush as 0.5. So they'll say 3.5, 2.5, or it may be 2, because 2 of them are half flushes and 1 is a full flush. So it could be still add up to 2, but ask them to count the half flush as 0.5. And then comes the washing machine. So washing machine, we are allowing for 2 types of clothes washing. One is machine washing and hand washing. So when it comes to machine washing, we are asking you to ask, is it a top loader? Is it a front loader? We also need to ask them what type of wash it is, program they prefer using most of the times. So we are not, of course, some people may use a different program, but we are trying to understand what is largely popular use or preferred use. So you write down. And then we are asking number of wash loads per week. Then the clothes washing by hand, we ask them, do you also do clothes washing by hands? Many people will say yes. In that case, we say, how many times in a week do you do hand wash clothes? So they'll write. And then the other one question is, okay, normally the way the process of hand washing works is, you have initially a soak volume of water in which you soak the clothes for a little while, and then you'll rinse it once, you'll rinse it twice. So we ask them, okay, how much liters of bucket or container do you soak the water in? So they'll say, 20 liters, half the bucket, whatever. So you write down the number of liters, and then we say, okay, how many, what's the rinse water volume? How is it, half bucket, full bucket? So they will say it's 3/4 of a bucket, full bucket, half bucket. So you note down the liters. Then we say, how many times do you rinse? Some people, depending, if they're really, depending on their method, their own preference, they may do even 3 rinses. Some may do just 2 rinses. Some may do 1 rinse. I don't know. So you just ask them how many rinses, and you note that. Because for each rinse, you have to account for that volume of bucket they are using. So that takes care of the washing clothes. Then what remains is the indoor plants. So indoor plants, we ask them what's the volume of water they supply during each watering session. So for every session, they use a certain volume. So you ask them that. And we ask how many such sessions you have per week. So they'll say we do it thrice a week, 4 times a week. So you note that down. And then floor mopping, same thing. We ask them to show the bucket they use for floor mopping and note down the volume of the bucket. And if you can't figure out, just take a picture. And over time, you'll learn how to gauge the liters when you look at the bucket. So then number of floor mopping sessions per week, write that down. And then finally, the evaporative cooler. So again, if it is not relevant in a particular house, you just put 0 for the answers. And that will take care of the analysis. So, and again, we ask them about evaporative cooler, what's the volume of water that they use to refill for each session, and then how many such refills they're doing per week. So that's all, everyone. So this is basically how you use the form. And as I said, once you fill the form and submit it, we will be able to, at the back end, analyze and provide you 2 things. One is, what's the liters of water used per day in your household, average daily use. We also give you the liters per person per day, and we are able to give you an idea about are you efficient or are you inefficient. So that is another thing. And the third thing we can give you is the breakdown of what percentage gets used for each end use. And if at all you are not efficient, your value of water use per person per day appears to be on an inefficient side, then we are able to look at this pie chart and know where can we focus on improving the efficiency or reducing the water consumption without compromising on the quality of the function. So that is all it is. And I hope, you'll be really enlightened by this process of undertaking the assessment using that form, which has made it very simple for you. You just need to take the form and go and measure the flow rates and ask yourself, or whoever is doing the activity, ask these questions. Or sometimes you may even observe for a few days and then write the answer, because it's your own house. You have the opportunity to really observe how many minutes people are using to hand wash, how many times are we hand washing. So you take your own time and take the time to fill the form and then submit it. And yes, and we'll be able to give you the results of your household watings. So that's it, guys. I hope you are able to make the best use of it. And I will be forwarding you the form as well as the video, which gives you the instructions. So with the help of both, happy accounting for your water. Bye. So I really hope you enjoy this and you become water accountants as a start to doing your own house. Thank you and happy accounting. Bye-bye.